Flosstube. Welcome. We are the Windy City Stitchers, and we're back for Flosstube number 2. I'm Janet.
I'm Sarah.
And we are coming at you from just outside of Chicago, Illinois, and we are so excited you're here with us today. We're so glad to be here. So, like I said, welcome. We're going to take turns showing all our stuff, our whips, some flossy fun, finishes, new starts, all the good stuff. So, I brought with me 3 finishes that are FFO'd, fully finished objects that are, so I know, well, they're from last year. They're from 2018 or 2019, so, but hey, it's a finish. It's not a finish this year. Yeah, well, and I usually, as you guys know, and you'll see, I usually do really big stuff, so these were all gifts. I do little stuff for gifts, so. All right, I'm going to flash a pattern because it's a freebie pattern and there is no cover page. This is a freebie pattern by Hirschners.com, and it's called Preparing for Winter, and it is a squirrel. And as you remember last time, I talked about, my husband and I have an inside joke about squirrels, and I stitch him a squirrel every single year. And this was the first one I did. This was the first project I did that got me back into cross stitching again after years and really having done just bookmarks. And he loves it. It's actually up in his shop. He does maintenance for a university, and it's really funny to me that they have it in the shop, but all the guys love it because it's kind of inside joke with the squirrel in the college and something that happened. So this is Preparing for Winter. It was so fun. It is done with DMC colors that I think I just chose them myself. And this is 18 count Fiddler's Cloth. I love Fiddler's Cloth Ada. It is one of my all-time favorites. So I don't know if the colors are coming up really well, but and this was professionally framed at our local LNS. So anyways, I will give this back to him. He sent it home from work because I wanted to show it on our Flosstube. So this year's, no, I'm sorry, that was 2018 squirrel. This is 2019 squirrel for my husband. It's kind of got 2 names, Squirrely Acorn Banquet and Squire Squirrel. It is by Artful Offerings. I called him Squire Squirrel. How cute is he? He is a squirrel on a log with a top hat, which is holding the acorns. He's oh my dapper. Gosh, he is so dapper. Again, I did it on Fiddler's Cloth because when I got back into cross stitch, I was all Ada and Fiddler's Cloth, and I'm thinking of doing some more stuff on Fiddlers soon, but love Fiddlers. Here we go. I used all the colorful colors, which was DMC, and here is Squire Squirrel in all of his glory. And the frame and the mat I got at Joann's. I just found I had like an 80% off coupon. Joann's does a lot of great coupons for framing. And using my LNS was just so expensive. And I have a really tight budget for cross stitch. And so we just went with Joann's. I highly recommend keeping tabs on their, their coupons for framing. So that is Squire Squirrel. That is hanging in our house. My husband wanted it in the shop, and I said, nope, that one I like so much, that's going in our living room. So I think I mentioned I have a teenage son, 16-year-old son, and he loves to camp. He's a Boy Scout, and he loves camping. It just loves it. And so, and he loves my cross stitch. She's really sweet. I had made him some bookmarks over the years, and then now that I'm back into it, I said, hey, would you like it if I made you something? And he's like, yeah. So this was mostly a surprise. I couldn't fully keep it as a surprise. It's really hard to stitch something in your home for your husband or son and keep it a total surprise. So he kind of knew about it, but it ends up turning out so well. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Country Cottage Needleworks called Camping Trip. It is available at 123 Stitch where I got it, and not sure that it's focusing really well, but that is Camping Trip. And I love how this turned out, and I love the frame. Tried to go with a real rustic frame since Perfect. It was about outdoor and camping, and pulled out for the mat the blue from the water. And I love it. You see the little bear there. There's fish in the water. It's got the tent, the fireflies. I used the Call for DMC. It was a combination of DMC and Classic Colorworks. I did change out Marshmallow. It was supposed to be in white, but you couldn't see it if you did it in white. So I did it in gray. Got the little bird and the little spider here. And he's actually working this summer at a scout camp. He's going to be a counselor all summer. And I loved how there's the you know, kind of the framed entranceway. It looks like an actual camp that you would go to, kind of like the camp that he's going to be working at. So he loves this. This is upstairs by his room. We have kind of a, in the hallway, we have a camping shelf area where he has all of his Boy Scout stuff that hangs, and it's right up there. So he is really happy with it, and I am so proud of it. So those are my 3 finishes, 2 from 2019, 1 from 2018, and these were, you know, kind of the first 3 I really got into stitching, so I thought I'd share. I won 2 giveaways from Flosstube, so I have to give a shout out and a thank you to Abby Top Knot Stitcher. Love Abby. She has a website, Top Knot Stitcher, and actually she has an Etsy store, and I think she just started her own website as well, so check it out. And one of her giveaways was any needle minder from her shop, and you could pick which one you liked and then respond to her Flosstube, and I won, and I chose a little sewing machine, not even knowing the back is a heart. How cute is that, the little magnet? So had to show that. Thank you, Abby. And I think, Abby, I also won this. I'm 90% sure I also won this. This giveaway was from you. And ironically, called by Abby Rose Designs. A lot of Abby's today. Home is where you hang your needlework. Oh, I didn't take it out. All the glare without, I gotta take it out of the plastic. So this is a sampler, and Abby Rose Designs, Home is where you hang your needlework too. And how pretty is that? And I had just said to Sarah, you know, I'm not really a prim girl, but she's been inspiring me with some of the gorgeous prim and the samplers and fancy floss. So this was just a God thing that I got this because I had been starting to think and look at samplers, and I love this one. So this will be my first foray into samplers and kind of use it. I've done some fancy floss, but this will probably be the only one I've done in all fancy floss. So that is exciting. Just wanted to share that with you. Yeah, isn't that cute? I thought you would like it. You're my sampler girl. You can help me with that if I have trouble. I'll probably do it on an even weave. So yeah. So I had a bunch of page finishes. Projects like me, it's almost like a finish, you know. Yeah. Page finish is something to celebrate.
I'm learning that.
When you do big stuff, ooh, something to celebrate. So last time I showed you guys, I'm so in love with this Les Jardins des Plaisirs, which means Garden of Pleasures, Long Dog Samplers. I'm sure you've seen it. You've seen it, you love it. It's a lot of people are stitching this right now. It is absolutely gorgeous. As you know, I'm a super big Long Dog fan. I'm one of their just huge super fans. I stitch mostly Long Dogs. And so this is my first one on even weave. And first time doing a big even weave, I should say. And here we go. I had a page finish. I actually, do you mind holding this side? So the page stopped here, and then I've already started because I can't stop stitching. I had to keep going. But the page finish was here. It's page 1 out of 9, I believe. So we're going a little closer. Lots of people, I've posted this on a bunch of Facebook websites for cross stitching, and a lot of people have been asking me about the colors. So I did bring that information. It is it's given in Gentle Arts and DMC. So this I just cut out from the actual pattern. So I went with DMC 310, gray 414, and red 301, but it calls for Gentle Arts Raven, Banker's Gray, and Buckeye Scarlet, which would be gorgeous. As I think I've mentioned in the past, I tend to wash my work when I'm done, and so I like DMC because It's color fast, and especially with this, I am stitching this in hand using the sewing method. I've stitched in hand before many times, but I'll show you in a little bit how I do it with Ada. But now that I'm doing even weave and linen, it's much easier to stitch in hand with the sewing method on something soft like linen or even weave. So since I'm going to be holding it and manhandling it so much, and it's such a big piece of fabric, I am going to be washing it at the end. So I really want a DMC. Plus my budget is just, you know, $40 a month, and DMC is so much cheaper than Fancy Floss, although it's only 3 skeins of Fancy Floss. While I have this out, I thought I'd show you a few things really quick of how I stitch with this. I'm sure if you watch Bendy Stitcher, you know what this is. This is called a Bitsy Bob. You can get it on Etsy. I can't think of the lady's name and the name of the shop that sells it, but if you go to Etsy and just type in Bitsy, B-I-T-Z-Y, Bob, B-O-B, you will see these. These are fantastic. So it is the coolest thing. It has a pocket where you can hold floss and I put my highlighter here. It has a metal magnet where you can put needles or I put my scissors there, and then it is felt. So your extra bits of floss stick to it, and the needle is really strong. It keeps your scissors. This is so great when you have a small amount of floss, so not something for full coverage when you have 90 skeins of floss, but this has 3 colors, and this is so great if you are traveling. So if you're in the car, if you're on a plane, even in a waiting room, because you can just pop this on your lap, everything's going to stay in place and stitch. And so, and then with the magnet, what I do, I like what do you call these? Floss away bags. And so, although I could keep them in here, if you're doing something with a floss away, you can use the metal ring on that too. That will keep it in. And then what I also put in there, and I'm going to flash the part of the pattern really quick. All you floss tubers or stitchers, don't get mad at me. It's a tiny folded up part of the pattern. I challenge any of you to try and stitch this whole thing with this tiny part. But when I stitch in hand, what I do is I take the pattern, I fold it, and I still use needle minders. And the reason is it helps keep, when I'm in my lap, it helps kind of keep it firm, and then I could put my needle here. So it's just a little hack. And then when I'm done, again, I just stick it in here. In fact, it's stuck to the magnet. Everything is in here. I can fold it up and go. And so literally all I need is this when I go to
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
Okay, so you're actually using your working copy of the pattern, and you're putting needle minders on that.
Yes, because I have this in my lap.
Okay.
If I had, with the Bitsy Bob, I probably don't need to do that because I could put it on here, but you'll see, I'll show it with other projects when I'm not using a Bitsy Bob. I just put the needle minders on my pattern. I'll show it again.
I'm going to be getting a couple of these.
Yes, they are fantastic.
I meant to when you first showed it to me.
They are fantastic. They come, this is a Bitsy Bob 1. You can get a Bitsy Bob 2, which the only difference is it has another snap in, a place to snap in another piece of felt. I found I don't really need that, but they're gorgeous. You can check regularly. She does different fabrics, and often with the seasons, so at Christmas time there's Christmassy ones. They're really fun. So Bitsy Bob, highly recommend that. Okay, so my favorite page finish so far is from Long Dog Samplers, how do you say it again?
Sanssouci.
Sanssouci. And it's hard to see all the detail in this.
I keep hearing myself try to speak French.
Oh, you speak French beautifully. I do not say it well. There is so much detail. You can't really get it all here. I wish we could pull out some of the details, but you're going to see a little more of the detail on this. This is on 18 count Ada, white Ada, and I'm doing DMC color is blueberry, which is number 32, very dark blueberry, number 32. Sorry about the thread there. You can see I've already started page 2. But look at how cool this is. Look at the details that have come out. Now I will show you.
I'm afraid you're gonna suck me in.
I know you can't. How can you resist a long dog? They're amazing. You'll notice there's white back stitching here for his. Look at him. He's a fishing pole, on fishing net on a pole, and then a fishing, fishing pole, and he hooked a fish. How cute is that? And then down here, there's some back stitching for the fish. Now, I've had some questions about that on Facebook. It is called for 2 threads. They give great instructions on long dog samplers. And the white back stitching that is on top of, stitching, they call for 2 threads. And I think you can see why. To show up, it really needs to be 2. You can see on the butterflies here that their little antennas is 1 thread. So you can see the difference between 1 thread for their antenna and 2 threads for the fish and the fishing pole. So again, really good instructions. They even said it might be fiddly. They used that word, I loved it, in the instructions. It might be a little fiddly to do the white back stitch with two skeins of floss over stitching. I did not find it fiddly at all. It was super easy, easy peasy. So you stitch as normal. So there are, under that is, blue or purple stitching, regular stitches. And then you back stitch. I always wait till the end of the page and back stitch. Now, that being said, with back stitch, there is tons more back stitching on this. I don't even think you can see it.
You know what?
There's a lot in black.
I'm not tempted anymore.
Yeah, well, not this one. Not this one. A lot of long dog samplers don't have back stitch.
Okay.
But this one, you can't even see it in the pattern. But there's a lot of black. It's the black, the little bits of black. I'm not even doing it.
Oh,
I don't like it. I think it looks too busy. In fact, if you look here, sorry, I know I keep doing this. If you look here, there's supposed to be another little fish right here. And I just feel it's too busy. I like it this way. I've gotten a lot of questions in the past with some long dogs have a little bit of back stitch. I tend not to do it. My death by cross stitch, I'm not doing any of the back stitching. Maybe just around the my alphabet, like my initials for the alphabet. But do what you like. If you like the back stitching, do it all. If you don't like it, leave it out. There's no cross stitch police, and no one's gonna know. People who come into our home and see it displayed who aren't cross stitchers, they're not familiar with the pattern. They're not going to go like, oh, why didn't you do all the rest of the back stitching? The way we stitchers might know, another long dog stitcher might go, it's missing some back stitching. So do what you want. Cross stitch, this is a hobby that should bring you joy. Don't be afraid. This is my philosophy. I'm on my soapbox now.
Preach,
don't be preach. That's right. Don't be afraid to crop off a part you don't like, or only stitch the part you like with no background, or back stitch, or don't back stitch, or the designers don't care. Their feelings aren't hurt. No one cares. So do what you like. Do you, and do you well. So this is me doing me, and I love it. As you can see, I already got so excited. I started again into the next page. Just absolutely love it. I had talked about potentially restarting this on even weave, and I'm not going to. I love 18 count white Ada. I do. I'm one of those. Speaking of do you, I love even weave and I love Ada. I discovered, and you'll see in a second, I do not like linen. But I love even weave and Ada, and I will stitch on anything. Well, maybe not linen, but find out what you like. There's no super class of stitchers. If you like Ada, it's not like if you stitch on linen, you're a better stitcher than if you're an Ada stitcher. So find what works. This is my theory. Find what works for that project. And long dogs especially, I like on Ada because I tend to go across rows. And there's a lot of counting with long dog, and I would find that hard with stitching over 2. Yeah, so you were asking about types of Ada. You know, there's not an official name for different types. Some you will find are way more stiff. Some are really soft and flimsy, almost like an even weave. And for me, it depends even on the project. Last week when I showed Carolage, which is the long dog that I'm going to be shipping off to family, that was on a very super soft Ada that I could stitch in hand. But Stitching Jewels does a great tutorial on if you want to wash your Ada ahead of time. It's really no different than washing your Ada like throughout the project or at the end of the project. But that does take some of the sizing and the starch out. It can make it softer. So if you get a piece you really hate, you could try washing and drying it. But yeah, I think it's personal preference. But it's mostly the stiffness. It's mostly just stiffness. So that was a page finish, one of my current favorites. I did get a page finish on one of my full coverage pieces, which is Rainy Waterloo Place by Cross Stitch Collectibles. Love this piece, real sepia tone piece. It's 40 pages, so pretty good size full coverage, and I am doing it on 14 count Ada with the
oh my gosh, it looks a lot different.
Called for colors. Again, I am showing a little bit of the pattern, but again, out of 40 pages, you're not going to be able to stitch that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take this off. But I want to.
What did you just do?
Yeah, I'll show that. Yeah, good question. So the page finished about here. I'm already halfway into the next page. So probably about right here is where the page finish had been. Like this to this. So that's what it looked like last time you saw it. You can see how I took the pattern off, but this is how I pin my, or use needle minders to secure my pattern right on the Q-snap. I always put a piece of paper under it in case I don't want my highlighter either to go off go off the edge and hit my stitching or to bleed through. Plus, it works great. As you can see, I use the paper when I have my threads. My threads are going up because I snake. I'm going to start coming up now, and then I go down, and then I go up, and then I go down. So when I take my threads, the way I tame them is putting it behind my stitching. Whether I'm going up or down is the direction I'll be taming it. It works really well. So again, here is progress on Rainy Waterloo Place. Stitching Jewels, who I'm mentioning a lot today, is also stitching this. She inspired me. She is quite a bit further along, but if you want to see more of it, you can check out hers. Her stitching is amazing.
I've got a question.
Yes.
Okay. So when you say you're snaking, are you completely finishing one grid and all the stitches and then going to the next grid?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. So parking is always doing a 10 by 10 square with the different colors, and then wherever the next place it occurs, you park that thread and you mark it a different color. Again, real quick, you're not going to be able to see to stitch the pattern off this. So yellow is where it's parked threads. And then when I stitch over it, blue is what I have stitched. I just cover over the blue once it's stitched.
It's a very well-defined method to
very well defined. And I do, you were asking, Brenda, Handwork Maniac, just talked about this. She and her daughters are going to be doing a Haid together as a stitch along, and they stitch it a little differently. She, like me, does all the colors in that block and then parks. Her daughter goes line by line and parks. Her daughter, Bossy Daughter, which is what she calls herself, also has a tutorial on Brenda's page, Flosstube, going back several episodes where she shows a parking tutorial. So there's more than one way to park. The way I learned was off Flosstube. Carolyn Mazzio, she no longer makes Flosstube, I don't believe. I haven't seen any for years, but her Flosstubes are still up. It's called Carolyn Mazzio. Just type in Flosstube Carolyn Mazzio and do parking technique, and she has what I feel is the best for the way I stitch, which is, you know, colors in a whole grid and then you park. If you want to do it the line by line way, check out Boss Daughter and Handwork Maniac. She has a great tutorial on that. So I have 2 new starts. I talked about them last week. I think I even showed them. So this is Red's Treehouse. Again, this will be 2020's squirrel for my husband. And look at him. He has his own tree condominium. How cute is that? And he's a red squirrel. Oh my goodness. So, and it's fancy floss, which is new to me. Now, it called for linen. So I bought it, kind of kitted it up as called for, off 1, 2, 3 stitch. And it came with linen. And I have decided I do not like linen. I'm just not a linen stitcher. I don't like how, as you can see, it's not real, linen isn't real even. It doesn't give even squares and stitching. Just not a fan. So I did start it on this and decided, you know what, not a huge fan. So I had some even weave and basically the same color. In fact, it's a part of the next one I'm going to show you, excess fabric from the next one I'm going to show you. So I pulled out my even weave 28 count, love it, which I'm just going to do instead of the linen. So this is as far as I have gotten. It is Gentle Art Sampler thread. So doing my fancy floss, I knew you'd be so proud of me, and I do really enjoy it. I think I said last time too, I don't mind it so much for smaller projects where I'm not going to be manhandling it all the time and I don't worry about washing it. So it's not that I don't like fancy floss.
I did hear something about leaks that they are going dye fast or something.
Color fast.
Color fast, which I assume means they're going to have a line or change their whole process in order to be able to.
Well, a lot of them say they're color fast. In fact, Gentle Arts says they're color fast. However, it will say what that means is they want you to wash all the flosses first in water and then dry them. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. So, anyways, I'm just loving Red's Treehouse. I don't know.
It's very cute.
It will be done soon, probably this spring, and again, I'll get it framed up like the other FFO'd in a frame. I'm kind of a framer. I don't do pillows. I don't do flat folds. I don't do soft finishes or have anyone do soft finishes. I'm kind of old-fashioned girl. I like things framed. So, all right, my other new start is Black Sheep by Elizabeth's Needlework Designs. I think I said that wrong last time. So again, this is for my husband. His joke is that he's the black sheep of the family. He even uses it for part of his email address. It's just hilarious to me. He is so not the black sheep of the family. I'm the black sheep of my family. Trust me, he's not the black sheep. But anyways, this is it. It is so cute. It is almost done. It is a mix of DMC and Fancy Floss. I don't know what Fancy Floss. It sent with it two over-dyed threads, and all it said was over-dyed threads included, DMC not included. So I had to buy my DMC, and it didn't even come on a thread drop. It was just in there, so I don't know if the over-dyeds are Classic Colorworks or Gassed, whatever it is. It's only, it's like only the pink and the green. So all the rest are DMC, but it's a really cute pattern and a quick stitch. And this is the one I just cut, you can see, I just cut this fabric because I had so much, and that is what I am using. The rest of the fabric I am doing, it's even weave on 28 count even weave Red's Treehouse, because I have decided 28 count even weave is my jam. I like it. Either Ada or even weave. Yay! So, just a couple more things to show you. This is not a finish, but just wanted to talk about, or not a finish, it's not a page finish even, but just wanted to talk to you about a few things. And oh my goodness, I didn't pull out the picture for it. Sorry. Text amongst yourselves. Okay, here it is. So, this
you said you were going to pull all your stuff.
I know, and And now you're crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. So it is Blue Bouquet. Of course it's Long Dog Samplers, right? Because, you know, that's me. In fact, what's her name? Jenny is the Long Dog Stitcher, DAWG on Flosstube. Jenny, you stole my title. Because I, too, am the Long Dog. We should be besties. We're both Long Dog Stitchers. So this is called Blue Bouquet. I love how Long Dog does. It's like BLOOBOOKKY. I love how they do, like crossword is spelled wrong, but kind of cute. So Blue Bouquet, and I am doing this on 14 count Aida. And this was the one I had said is kind of crappy Aida, and I didn't like it, and yet I decided I'm going to keep it. So I just, the more I stitch on it, the more I'm fine with it. And here's where I'm at. Yes, thank you. I had been kind of just up here before. It was just the very top. And one of the reasons I wanted to show this to you too is I'm going to show you real quick how I stitch in hand for when I am stitching on Aida. So it's a little different. I do the technique that Sarah does, Stitching Mommy. Sarah, you can see a tutorial on way back at the beginning of hers on this. So you roll the fabric kind of like a scroll. I use clips because I find it really helps. And then, so I clip it. This is not going to be a very good demonstration since I'm backwards. But, so I would clip it, and I do the poke and stab method, where I'm just sitting here and I'm going on top and under, on top and under, on top and under. And as I work my way down, I just release the scroll. The nice thing about it is it leaves no creases, nothing in your fabric, which I love, no hoop marks or Q-snap marks. You don't have to iron it. By holding it, it does make the Aida looser. When you stitch in hand, it gets less stiff. And it's just a really fun way to stitch in hand. That was the first way I ever learned to stitch in hand. I just recently learned the sewing method. A great way to store these, if you want, is old wrapping paper tubes, or sometimes if you buy tubes, I was saying I do a lot of fiddler's cloth. Charles Craft fiddler's cloth comes in that kind of plastic square tube, and you can pop them in even if they're not long enough it may stick up. You could even use paper towel rolls, the end of the paper towel roll, and if it's too long you could do one here and one here. Those are great ways to store if you want to keep it rolled up. I often just fold it. In fact, that one I just showed you, Sansusi's with the little fisherman guy, that I stitch in hand too, and I had just folded it. You could fold it and put it in a project bag, and as you unfold it, it's gonna roll fine. So this is just another option, another fun way. And when I do that, I thought I'd show you really quick. Again, I just put a needle minder on my pattern so I can keep my needle, and then I just have my pattern in my lap. So as I'm stitching, I'm stitching along here, and my pattern is just right here in my lap. Or you could put it, if you have a stuffed chair, like I sit in a stuffed chair, you could have it on the armrest of your chair. And then when I'm done, and then I keep just a little Ziploc bag, or a little zipper bag. I got it at Joann's. It's like a makeup bag, where I just keep scissors and my little clips in here, and scissors and a highlighter. So another nice way to, if you're stitching in a waiting room, it's really easy. You're just stitching, have the clips, when you're done, you just roll it up. You got your stuff, and you're good to go. Very, very portable. So that I stitched on. And lastly, didn't stitch on all my whips since I've seen you last. I was so sick. I got influenza A. I was so sick. It is such a bad flu season, and now we've got coronavirus coming to our country. But I was just horribly sick, so I didn't get a lot of stitching. So this is the last one I'm going to show. Probably not even half my whips. But my last one is my other full coverage, which is my Haid. Did I not get?
Is that an acronym?
sorry, it is an acronym. It's for Heaven and Earth Designs. And sorry, I forget that. That's a great question. Newcomers don't realize.
Every time I
sorry,
hear that, I'm picturing The Hague in the Netherlands.
The Hague, yeah, and it's Hague. Sorry, it's in fact, sorry, I'm so not prepared. I am off today, y'all. I am on the struggle bus. I don't know what my problem is. I'm driving the struggle bus today. I apologize. So, and there's the glare. Didn't I say I had it all prepped? And obviously I did not. I apologize. So Hague, which means Heaven and Earth Designs. This is Quick Stitch Iris. Not a quick stitch. Just telling you. At least for a somewhat newbie to full coverage. Not a quick stitch. Not to me. Oh yes, she was asking. The extent of the colors is it's 90 colors. So it's front, back, and front, which 90 to 120 is very typical for a Hague, any full coverage. And then Hague has max colors, which typically is 250 colors, like 219 to 250. Those of y'all who do max colors, you're crazy. God bless you, but you're cray-cray. I could not do a max color. I mean, it comes out amazing. It's, it's super, would it be more pixelated or less pixelated? It's super detailed. It looks like a painting when you're done, when you have that many, less pixelated.
I can answer this question.
Thank you.
It's in my wheelhouse.
It's not my wheelhouse at all. And this is on 25 count, even weave 1/1. And let me tell you, I love that it does come out so detailed. It is beautiful. I doubt it. I should have had like just one random stitch. And but yeah, a lot of Hagues are done on 25 count 1/1. Partly because some of the Hagues are huge. Like there are Hagues that are 900 by 900 stitch count.
Show it up close again because it's a 10 by 10 grid, right? So there's in each one of those squares,
there's 100 stitches in each stitch. Yeah, 100 stitches, and it comes out so detailed. So last time I had been kind of in here-ish, so I counted up, it was about 700, just shy of 700 stitches that I've done since I've seen you last. That did include I think we had just finished, I don't know if it included or we had just finished a 24 hours of cross-stitch challenge, but I had stitched a lot. I know with Corona we're not supposed to touch our face, and I can't not.
I'm terrible.
I know
it's really
and I have autoimmune disease. I'm immunosuppressed, so I'm really nervous about Corona, and I touch my face all the time. It's made us all. They're saying that the masks don't help unless you're already sick, but I did hear someone say wearing a mask can help you not touch your face as much. Because if you have a mask on, you're like, it stops you from touching your face, but all the masks are out. You can't find them anywhere. Anyways, sorry. This is not the Corona episode. Sorry. We try to stick to stitching here, and but I'm not doing a very good job today. I'm driving the struggle bus. I'm telling you all. I apologize. I feel very scattered, and I'm usually not. But I am calling this my year of full coverage, where I'm really just trying to put in stitches every day if I can. Trying even to do one square, so 100 stitches a day in both of them, just because I don't want to be here in 20 years still holding up the same Hague or full coverage. So anyways, that is me in a nutshell, and hopefully I'll have more for you next time. Hopefully I will not have the flu or Corona between now and when we see you again, and I'll have more to show. But I'm excited because Sarah has so much to show, and it is amazing. Before we started, we talked a little, and we were prepping and looking at each other's stuff, and I'm so excited to watch her now.
Should be lowering expectations.
No.